back with another Savage video. Thanks for everyone tuning in, and I guess you guys are probably, some of you are at least coming from Serpent X Special Forces, so thanks to him for sending you over to this channel. That's pretty cool. Let me turn off his, looks like I think he was having all kinds of problems, connection problems tonight. Let's see here. Let me get back to where I need to be. Here we go. All right, yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks everybody for liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, all that cool stuff that you guys do for the channel here to make it worthwhile to actually do this type of thing. Pretty cool. I don't do a lot of hardware stuff, so this is always like a challenge, a little bit of a challenge to me, because there's people like Serpent X that knows way more about hardware than I do, all the details of GPUs and stuff, but and other things, but you know, specifically GPU mining. But I try to get into it. I try to learn a little bit about it, and so that I can kind of talk intelligently about it. But I mean, I've been in hardware forever, but not necessarily in the crypto mining space, and specifically like gaming. I'm not a gamer, so like knowing all the details of GPUs and stuff is sometimes a challenge. So I have to do a little bit of research and stuff. So yeah, but I figured I would do a GPU mining like a top 5 GPU mining video, top 5 GPUs for crypto mining video, because you know, and you know, it's almost, what's the word, subjective, right? Because it depends on what you want to mine with your GPUs and your system as to what GPU actually works best. So I'm going to focus on Ethereum, Ethash, because clearly the profits are insane right now, and that is where I'm going to focus. That's what I'm going to do the top 5 list as, you know, mining Ethereum. So that's where we're going to go with this. All right, guys, let's get into it. And this is not what I wanted to show you first, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. So there's like a ton of miners that are entering the space right now. You know, we've all seen it. Especially YouTube channels are getting hit pretty hard with lots of comments, lots of questions. You know, Discords are getting hit up. Not mine, because I don't really promote it, but it is there if you want to ask a question. But this is kind of a weird situation, because right now you can't get you don't have access to GPUs, like new GPUs. Some of us can get, some of us, not me. Some of us can get new GPUs, not me. But even if you can get some new GPU, you couldn't. It's hard to get, as a normal retail person, it's hard to get GPUs to fill out a rig, right? I hear people. I think Crypto Mikhail was talking about it. I know Serpent's talked about it, just buying one at a time and, you know, basically building a rig. It's not like whenever I first started, I could just go and buy 10 GPUs if I wanted to, right? They were all available. They would be here in 3 days or whatever. It's not like that right now. Right now, it's really tough. It's a tough market out there to actually get the GPUs to put into your rigs. But I figured that this would still be a cool video to do. So I'm going to cover the top 5. It's actually my top 5 based on calculations. It's not necessarily anybody else's top 5. In fact, I kind of compared my list to some other lists that are out there from, you know, reputable sources, and it didn't match. So that's why there's a little bit of a surprise at the end, in my opinion, the number 1 GPU. So stick around for that. So I'm going to go over this, even though you can't get any of these GPUs. And none of this is like financial advice or mining advice. We're just having fun. I'm talking about hardware, which again, not really my forte. I'm, you know, not advice in any way. I'm just some scatterbrain, you know, idiot on the internet just talking about crypto mining stuff. So don't take any of this, you know, like any type of advice at all. Pretty much what's cool right now is pretty much any modern GPU, and I think that Brandon Coin actually did on his channel. He did a video of an old, I think a 1050 or something like that, that's actually profitable right now, which is crazy if you think about it, right? Even old GPUs. This is going to be for modern GPUs. Obviously, they're going to be more efficient. They're going to be much better off. You know, the amount of crypto that you can mine with them is going to be more than those older GPUs, even though there might be still profitable. The old GPUs, they're not very efficient. So you're paying like a lot for the electricity, you're paying a lot to run it just to make a tiny amount, right? So the efficiency just isn't there. As the newer generation of GPUs come out, the efficiency usually gets much better, smaller die, smaller nanometer, the transistors are closer together, less power, all that stuff, all that hardware type progress that they make with the hardware over time. So, but it is cool to see that all these different GPUs are actually profitable right now. Yeah, so take this list. This is kind of like the list of the elite. This is what's available today. I say available, the most modern GPUs that are out there, not necessarily available to buy. So yeah, this list is going to be focused on ETH hash per watt. So keep that in mind too. You know, again, it might be something to where, you know, your situation might tend to be something else, like we did with the co-owned rigs that I have here. Multiple owners actually own the rigs. We mined Conceal network, CCX, for like more than a year straight at a loss, right? So it was like a, I forget the word. It was like a generous thing. What's the word? I used to say it and now I can't remember it. But anyway, so yeah, it was just out of generosity, right? Just to keep the network going. Plus the potential was there, you know, for, you know, good profits in the future, which like right now, I think that they're actually up a little bit. Not a lot of volume or anything, but yeah, they're up like 61% today. But again, small project, not a lot of volume, so be careful with that. But they are there. So we did that for like a year, and hopefully it pays off. We've got some that we've stored, you know, some CCX that we have stored up. Hopefully it takes off and everything is paid off, you know, with that pump. Hopefully that happens. They got a lot of stuff coming out, so I do foresee them increasing in value, so that's good. But at this point, there's really not too much of a reason not to mine Ethereum with the way the profits are right now, because, I mean, good grief. There's just no doubt that Ethereum is king of mining right now. Even on an old, this is a shared rig here, Dagobah. It's 8 RX 580s. You know, the cars are, what, 4 years old, 3.5 years old, something like that. $30 a day after electric. Pretty solid, right? So yeah, again, pretty much any GPU is going to be profitable at that level. So, you know, yes, mining Ethereum is kind of boring, but it just makes so much sense right now, because you could just mine this, and then, like, let's say you wanted to actually hold Ravencoin instead of Ethereum, just swap it. You can do it right inside of the Zelcore wallet. Just swap Ethereum for Ravencoin on an exchange. Boom. Now you got Ravencoin, but you're getting more Ravencoin than you would if you just straight up mined it, right? So it comes down to, you know, whether or not you just want to throw your hash power at a project that you want to support, or are you looking to actually accumulate the most amount of coins? So these are all things that you have to consider. I'm kind of getting off track, kind of rambling a little bit, which I do, but you know, I try to be honest and realistic with you guys, and not mislead you in any way. So that is the way I would do it at this point. If I was to want to hold Ravencoin, for example, I would just mine Ethereum, boom, swap it for Ravencoin. That's the way I would do it. So some hardware is actually better at mining certain algorithms than others. So the best GPU for your goals might be completely different than what I'm going to talk about in this video. Okay, you have to kind of analyze your situation and what your intentions are. And another thing that this list doesn't take into consideration is the cost per mega hash, because the cost per mega hash would actually change the list quite a bit. So it depends on what you are actually focused on. Are you focused on possible resale value of a GPU, or are you wanting to just make the most amount of profit, not really worried about paying off the GPU? You know, there's a lot of factors here that come into play, and I'll give you a really good example, like the 3090. Okay, so the NVIDIA 3090, awesome card, huge hash rates, super efficient, all that stuff. But as far as mining goes, you're paying a lot. You're paying a lot for that hash rate. Now, you could argue that if you're going to sell that card in the future, then that's that can affect the return on investment, the break-even point. It could affect all that, right? I totally get it. But I'm talking about if you plan on holding these cards until they die, a 3090 is probably not the way to go because of the cost, the initial cost. So there are better alternatives if you are going to be mining for a long time. If you're selling that card right away, or if you're only going to mine until the end of the summer or something like that with it, fine. 3090, get it, make as much between now and then as you can, and then sell it, and probably still sell it for more than you paid for it, right? Especially if you get it for retail. So anyway, all right, so let's get into the topic at hand here. So the first GPU, number 5 on this is my list, guys. This is not the list. This is just my list. It's actually a 3070. And the 3070, hang on just a second, let me fix this. 3070 is retail, that says it retails for $499. You can't find them for $499. I mean, come on, guys. We all know that. It can mine up to about 120 different algorithms. It's got 34 coins that you can mine with it, different projects. Probably more than that if you're looking at spec mining. And it also has like 29 plus different mining software, different miners that you can use with this particular GPU. So it's got plenty of support as far as mining goes. This GPU in particular, if you wanted like a multi-purpose GPU, one that you're going to be gaming on and mining on, then the 3070 is probably a pretty good choice. It's a good option because it has similar performance to one of the other GPUs on our list, which is going to be a little bit better for mining because of the cost, the initial cost of it. This was released in October of 2020, just last year. It's only a few months old. And as far as technology goes, it has, let's see, a 1500 hertz, a megahertz boost clock, base clock. Boost clock is 1725. The effective memory clock is 14,000 megabits per second, and it's 20.31 teraflops. Now, with ETH hash mining, you're not really worried about teraflops too much. You're more worried about the memory bandwidth and the memory interface. This has a 320-bit bus, but I found some conflicting information here. I don't know. I think I looked on videocards.com and it was saying 256. So if someone can clarify for me if the 3070 has 320-bit bus or 256. I'm not 100% sure. I should know, but I don't. I'm just not 100% sure. It's got a memory size of 8 gigabytes. And it looks like the memory bandwidth is 512 gigabytes per second, but I think that that's based on 320-bit. I'm kind of thinking that it does, but I just don't remember very clearly here. Actually, let me go and look. I can probably, yeah, we'll investigate that in a minute. Let me look if you guys are hitting me up over here. Yeah, hit me up, Nefarious or Chancoin, one of you guys. Let me know whether or not the 3070 is 320 or 256. Because right before the stream, I was looking it up, and I'm like, that's weird that it would have two different ones on two different websites, two different memory buses. Anyway, and it does have GDDR6. And as far as like OC settings, for a good OC setting for the 3070, would be, now this is specifically for mining Ethereum, you would have the power limit about 118 watts. The core clock is plus 55 megahertz. The memory clock is plus 2450. And I believe that that's only on Linux. And put your fan speed around 90%, something like that. And you should get, with that, you should get about 61, maybe 62 megahash per second at around 117 watts, which puts it at 0.52 megahash per watt, which is pretty solid. That's a great efficiency rating right there. The 0.52 megahash per watt is pretty good. And the 3070 does tons of other algorithms. So if you're looking at something else, like let's say CryptoNight-GPU or CCX or any of those, it does pretty well at those as well. Not going to get into the efficiency of those in this video. Maybe we'll tackle that some other time. But as far as used market or the market in general, I've got buy it now selected, price lowest, and then what we can do to actually get a little bit better idea is if we go to sold, wherever that's at, somewhere, yeah, here we go. So if we go to sold, we might be able to find what they are actually going for. Like these are scams, guys. Like be careful of these. You got to read. It even says right here, read the description. Some of these, I say that they're scams, but what some of them are scams. Some of them are just trying to get around these scalpers. Okay, so they put a posting, a listing up here, low cost, and then what you're really buying is like a picture of the GPU, right? It's really ridiculous, but that's what it is. So. Yeah, like see, like NVIDIA Founders Edition. This looks awesome. Okay, great, $400. That's retail, right? So if you click on it, well, actually, see that one's a pure scam because it's actually gone. So you have to scroll pretty far down here to actually get to the actual GPUs. If you see this read description, you can just ignore it. It's not going to be what you think. So good grief, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get to one here. I mean, I'm looking at probably the lowest. What is it going to be? Maybe let's click on this one just to see. Okay, so that's ended. So that's sold. But see, that was back in December. So that's another thing. You know, you got to look at the date that it actually sold. So if we want to not look at sold and look at what's out there right now, it ain't going to be pretty. Let's see. So probably about these 900, this is probably going to be about the going rate right now, it looks like. So pretty expensive compared to the $499 MSRP, right? So just to give you an idea of what's going on in the world of GPU mining. All right, so number 5 is 3070. Number 4 is probably a little bit of surprise, maybe. Number 4 is the 5700 XT. Hang on a second. So the 5700 XT, great card. I like these. I wish I could have one. I do not. It is the TDP for this board. The power is 225. That's the maximum that it can actually consume and dissipate the heat properly. It can always consume more, but it just will burn up and you won't be able to use the card probably anymore because you'll damage it in some way. The memory size is 8 gig. It looks like it's got a 448 gigabyte per second memory bus, which I don't have the bus width written down here. It uses GDDR6 also. And this card came out, what, 2 years ago? I think it was, yeah, July of 2019. And this card can mine at like 111 different algos. It's got 320 coins it can mine, and it's supported by lots of mining software as well. 23 or more different mining softwares. Then you also have for the overclock settings that are good for this card, mining Ethereum or ETH hash. Core clock would be 1380. The core voltage is 800 millivolts. Memory clock at 875. The memory state voltage 1350 millivolts. Memory controller voltage 800 millivolts. And those settings should get you about 54 or so mega hash per second at 91 watts, and that's a pretty impressive 0.59 mega hash per watt. That's really, I mean, anytime that you're above like 0.45, that's what we're used to seeing in the space here. The crypto mining space is about 0.45 is a really good number. 0.445 mega hash per watt. If you start seeing 0.5, which is what we're seeing with new technology, that's pretty impressive. This one is 0.59 mega hash per watt. Pretty solid. As far as, I don't think I looked up, I don't have a link to look up the price of these or like what's going on eBay. Let me go ahead and check that out real quick. And I know eBay isn't a great source for these, but you know how it is. I don't have all those great sources for hardware like some do. Let's go buy it now. Again, a lot of these are going to be, oh, this is a surprise here. Yeah, out of stock. So that was off of Newegg. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting up there now. So $800 range, it looks like, roughly, for these. Let me check the chat, make sure I'm not messing up over here, guys. Yeah, hopefully y'all like this list. This is a pretty, I don't know, I did some research, so it looks like a pretty good list. I'm going to get to my spreadsheet and show you how we get to this this list in a moment. I'll do that at the end. But for now, let's see here. So yeah, 5700s are, I mean, this is insane, man. These prices are crazy. I don't see an end to it either, you know, anytime soon. So get used to it, guys. Get used to it, at least for some time. Hopefully we'll get some NVIDIA stock soon. Maybe by the summer, we'll be able to actually, or normies like myself will be able to actually buy them. All right, so that was number 4 on the list. Number 4 is the AMD RX 5700 XT. Let me get rid of these two right here. So number 3 on the list, you might be surprised, because I think a lot of people are probably thinking what I thought whenever I was first looking at this. I was thinking what would be number 1. Again, probably going to be a surprise, but we'll talk about it. You guys can beat me up about it, but we'll see what happens. I'll show you why and all that stuff. So number 3 is the 3060 Ti. You might, I know right now everybody's going, huh? What? How is that? How is that possible? That would be number 1, or it should be number 1, right? I know I said it would be number 1 way back whenever it first came out. Way back. Whenever it first came out, I did a video on it, and I was like, yeah, this one's going to be it. For sure. Based on the price and all that stuff. So it'll do 120 algorithms, much like the other ones. It's got a lot more coins, 341 different projects that you can mine with this card. It's got plenty of software, mining software available, 29 plus different miners. Oh, Chump Change, you're at it again, man. Thanks so much. You know what sucks is I cannot see what you say up there. I can't see your, let me see if I can find out. Yeah, smash the likes, guys. Yeah, do that. Okay. Yeah, I had to go like a different location to actually see the super chat. The window I have open doesn't, it's not big enough to where I can see what you actually say in there. So thanks so much, Chump Change. Really awesome of you. I get all choked up, man. It means a lot. It really does. So the 3060 Ti is basically the same as the 3070, but since it has like less cores, it's more efficient on Ethereum Ethash. The price difference between the 3060 Ti and the 3070 definitely makes this GPU a lot more attractive in the mining world, because the value, the cost is lower. Although right now I can't really say that, but the MSRP is lower than the 3070. If you know, so if you're factoring in the time to break even and all that, then the 3060 Ti might be the way to go. It was released in December 2020. The base clock is 1410, boost clock 1665. Memory clock, effective memory clock is 14,000 megabits per second. It does 16.2 teraflops. Power is about 200 TDP, 200 watts TDP. It's got 4,864 CUDA cores. Max memory size is 8 gigabytes. The memory bandwidth is 448. Now, I would have to look up this one too to make sure of that, but 448 gigabytes per second on the memory bandwidth, and it does have GDDR6. As far as OC settings on this particular card, you would probably go with something like 108. You would try to achieve 118 watts, although we're going to talk about something in a minute. So about 118 watts, 0 on the core. The memory clock is going to be 2400 on Linux or 1200 on Windows. and the fan speed at 90%. So with those settings, you should see about 60.2 megahash per second at 120 watts. But, big but here. Dizzy Mining has a video that shows him getting 61.4 at 112 watts. Okay, so let me post this in the chat so you guys can go and see what he does to achieve that. So I don't know if he's got a lot of info in here. Yeah, not a lot. So you'd have to watch this video. It's pretty short, only 10 minutes. But he does achieve, I mean, there's like some where he's getting like 63, but I think he backs it down because it's getting like rejected or it's not stable or crashes or whatever. So he goes through all the steps, doesn't talk. He's just showing you exactly what's going on, just some background music, really cool, easy way to just watch a video and get some overclock, some really solid overclock settings on there. So go and check that video out if you want some solid info on 3060 Ti overclock settings. He gets 61.4 at 112 watts, which is 0.55 megahash per watt. Pretty solid. And actually, I just realized that actually that one should actually be, no, that's right. Okay, yeah. All right, so that pretty much sums up our number 3. And this next one might not be too much of a surprise. You might have guessed that it would be in some of the top. Oh, we need to look at the cost. Hang on. So if you're looking on the market for a 3060 Ti, I mean, it's super depressing to look at this. It's basically about the same as the 3070, huh? Maybe even a little bit more in some cases. Because these cards are hot. There's no doubt about it. Super efficient miners. $5X 3060 Ti mining rig for 12 grand. All right, so yeah, cool stuff over there. Yeah, I just want MSRP, you know? Just give me MSRP and we'll be good. Not likely anytime soon, right? All right, so the number 2 GPU on my list here is the Radeon 7, and we'll talk about why in just a moment. It does like 111 algorithms, 320 coins. It's got plenty of miners associated with it, just like all the other ones. You know, don't really have to worry about not having mining software for them anymore. That's kind of like a thing of the past. This was released in June of 2019. 1450 base clock, 1750 boost clock, 2000 megabits per second effective memory clock, 13.44 teraflops FP32 power. The board power always kind of throws people off because it's a lot. It's 300 watts. The memory size is 16 gig. These are 16 gig cards. Huge amounts of memory. You can mine like kookaroo algorithms pretty easily with them, with all that memory. The max memory bandwidth, which is astonishing, is 1024 gigabytes per second. And the memory type is HBM2. And I don't know if they are ever going to bring that back. I wish that they would, because it's great for mining for sure. I mean, this is a monster mining. So if we look at the actual overclock settings, it would be basically, before I talk about like the additional information, on a basic level, you would go like 1750 on the core, 950 millivolts on the core voltage, and the memory clock would be at about 1000 megahertz. So that's like just basic overclock settings. And with that, you should get 104 or so megahash per second at 200 watts or 195 to 200 watts. And that's about 0.53 megahash per watt, which is pretty great. But Red Panda Mining did a video on how to 100 megahash per second, a Radeon 7 mining Ethereum using C mode and Hive OS. So there is a way I don't know if it's only in Hive OS. I doubt it. I think that there's a way of doing it in any mining OS, I would imagine. I don't know. I didn't research it that much. I think you can, though. I didn't even like this video. Good grief. Sorry about that, Red Panda. Yeah, so watch this video. He goes through step by step. There's a little document here, down here at the bottom as well. I think it's right. Yeah, right here. Step-by-step document on how to do it in Hive OS. But with that, with these settings, you can see right here, he's getting 100 mega hash per second at 170 watts, which, you know, just quick math right there. You do the math, that's pretty dang efficient. And that is 0.58 mega hash per watt, which is solid. That's a solid amount. Now, these cards are super expensive today too, just like all the other ones. You know, you got to get down here in the, I don't know, $1,000 range before. Yeah, I don't know. This is not a great search I did here. I don't know what I search on here. Radeon 7. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, you're looking at people really going high with these, and they're really hard to get anyway because they're discontinued. They don't make them anymore. All that stuff. So, you know, $1,900. Geez. From Canada. Hey, is Red Panda selling this one? What's going on there? Okay, maybe that's Red Panda up there. So yeah, you can't get this GPU either unless you win it from Red Panda or buy it from him. There's a few people with these, but I don't think anybody's selling them at this point because the profitability is too good. So yeah, cool stuff. Let me post this. Oops. Post this link in the chat so you guys can check that video out as well. Hopefully you guys aren't tagging me. Y'all are just chatting it up over here. Thanks to everybody tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider. I try to do this. I try to do this every night at 9:30. I also do. Try to do a video every day. I'm trying to pay attention to what Nefarious is saying here. Oh yeah, you're talking about the eBay listings. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff here. Yeah, I don't know. I just clicked on AMD over here, so it looks like there's not really very many listed. But again, I'm doing, you know, filtered searches and stuff, so you probably could find it maybe a little bit less than that for sale. From a real one, like maybe I don't know about this. Maybe I don't know. I try to stay pretty safe, you know, and not do anything too crazy. This one says sold as is, not detected, fan spins, lights on, exclude. So see, this is like broken for 629 or potentially broken. So, you know, always read the condition and stuff. Says 4 parts, not working. So be careful with that stuff, guys. Don't just hop on there and buy whatever you can. Be real super careful. All right, so let's get to the number 1. This is like a surprise, probably going to be a little bit of a surprise. So the number 1 on my list is the 5700, which you definitely can't get these anymore. They don't make them. The 50, and I'll talk about why. I know everybody's probably scoffing right now, but I'm going to tell you why in a few minutes. All right, so the 5700 non-XT version was released in July of 2019. Base clock is 1465, game clock 1625, boost clock 1725, effective memory clock is 14,000 megabits per second, 7.95 teraflops, so it doesn't do great with those compute type algorithms. 7.95 teraflops is not good. The TDP is 180 watts. The maximum memory that you saw on these GPUs was 8 gig, and it has a 448 gigabyte per second memory bandwidth, which is really awesome. And it also uses GDDR6. So some OC settings, just basic, would be 1380 on the core, 800 millivolts on the core voltage, 875 on the memory clock, the memory state voltage at 1350, millivolts, and then the memory controller voltage at 800 millivolts. And with that, those OC settings, you should get about 51 megahash per second at 117 watts. So that is 0.43 megahash per watt. So if you've been paying attention, that is nowhere near like the efficiency megahash per watt as the 3060 Ti or the 3070 or even the Radeon 7. So you might be wondering, okay, so what's this all about? Well, CryptoPope, one of my longtime subscribers, he has tuned his to get 54.84 megahash per second at 85 watts. So if you do the math, that is 0.62 megahash per watt. So I don't know now the way they did it. He's flashed it to XT, so he's flashed it with the XT BIOS. So there's a lot of work, right? There's a little bit of work ahead of time that you need to do in order to achieve 0.62 megahash per watt. But let's look at the spreadsheet because that's where it all kind of comes together. So we're going to look at the Google Sheet here. And I could probably hide the ASICs up here, but just kind of ignore these two at the top. But you can see I have this sorted by megahash per watt. Okay, so you can see right here Z to A, so it goes highest to lowest with all the cards that we talked about tonight listed in here as well. It does have more on here, you know, you got all the ones that, all the modern GPUs plus a few older ones, but we're only going to talk about these right here. So the 3070, this little area right here. So 3070 up to the 5700 MSI Evo. So I've got the overclock settings in here. So if you have this GPU, and again, it could be Silicon Lottery kind of thing where he just knocked it out of the park and made a really good buy and it was really awesome. And that's how he's achieving this. But I would assume that if you got a 5700 with similar specs, and they all pretty much have this, you know, obviously the board partners will have a little bit higher clocks usually and stuff like that, the OC versions or whatever. But let's just say a 5700 flash to an XT, and giving credit to CryptoPope for this info here, he achieved 54.9 megahash per second. And here's his OC settings right here, all of them. I didn't ask him if I could share them, but I'm assuming. I'm making an assumption here that CryptoPope wouldn't care if I shared his super secret OC settings here. And you can see here that with those settings, actually I've got a different number in here than what I said. I said 0.62, but it's actually 0.65. So 0.65 megahash per watt, which is insanely efficient. That's insanely efficient. Super low wattage, 85 watts, getting 54.9. That's great. That's really incredible. Then number 2 GPU here is the Radeon 7, and I've got Red Panda Mining's info in here, OC settings, and you can see that it gets 0.59 here, 170 watts. And also take note of the cost per megahash, because this is also important if you are looking at your resale value and all that. This is a factor, and you can see how if I did sort by the cost per megahash, it would be different. You know, it would vastly change the landscape of the top 5, right? Because, like, for example, the 3060 Ti, you're paying a lot per megahash for that, but the efficiency is still there, right? So it all depends on your particular situation with whether or not you're going to sell the GPU. You know, it's got to do with your situation. All right. Let's see here. So we got the 5700 XT getting 59. Not sure exactly where I got that information from. I need to source that. I don't have that in front of me though. This might just be off of maybe like a nice hash search or something. But anyway, it looks like it gets 59, and that puts it at about 0.49. I'm pretty sure that's about where we were on the list whenever I talked about it. I thought we might have been at like 0.51. Let me go back to my list over here and see. So the 5700 XT was 0.59. Oh, that was I've got 0.59. I wonder why. Let me look at what I've got going on here. Okay, yeah, so this has got some default stuff in here. So we got to change the mega hash to 54, and then the wattage, the actual mining wattage that I found was about 91 watts. Okay, so there we go. So that makes more sense. And then the same thing would happen on Dizzy's, I think. Actually, no, now that would actually get it in the right order. Because see right here, no, it's not. I'm getting confused. These two are so close. I'd have to go back through this and analyze why it's, let me see here, 54, 91. I might have done some math wrong or something on my sheet, on my list. But anyway, they're close. They're close, guys. And then you got the 3070, rounding out the top 5. Still a pretty solid card all around. The 70s, you know, like the 1070s, were always good as well. 2070s, you know, always in that sweet spot for mining efficiency and gaming efficiency and all that stuff. All right, so I'm going to look at the chat. I can post the link to this. Just make a copy of it and like modify it for yourself. You know, if you have Google. Yeah, you can see down here at the bottom, I started to do some additional algorithms, but ETH just completely blows everything away right now. So I would say that I mean, like I said at the top, there's really not much of a reason to mine anything else right now. There's just not. You mine Ethereum and you swap the coins for whatever you want. You know, unless there's no way to swap it right now. If you're talking about spec mining and all that stuff, I mean, there's a huge, you know, it all depends on your situation. But I'll give you a great example right now. If you were mining, if you were wanting to hold more, let's say you were wanting to hold more tube, then unless you're just being super generous with your hash power, the way to hold the most amount of tube right now would probably be, depending on your hardware, would be to mine Ethereum and then swap it for tube. Now you would have to have a way to do that, obviously, you know, exchange it either through a swapping service or something else. You know, tube is not as available on the swapping services as, say, Ravencoin. But if you were going to want to hold Ravencoin, then I would encourage you, if you're just looking to hold it and accumulate the most amount of coins, then the ideal way to do that would be to mine Ethereum, swap them for Raven, because you're going to get more. I mean, look at this; it's not even close. $9 or $29. So if you did what I'm saying to do, you're going to get $20 more worth of Ravencoin for each day, basically, right? Day mining. You're going to get $20 more if you mine Ethereum and swap for Raven. So hopefully that makes sense, right? And I didn't like that at first either. Whenever I first got into mining, I was like, I want to mine whatever project I want to mine. I don't want to mine, you know, necessarily what's most profitable at the time, right? But it really doesn't make any sense to do it any other way unless you're saying that the time that it takes to swap and the effort that it takes to swap is worth it to you. But right now, I'm telling you, the profits make it worth it to just do the swap, unless you're just being super nice. Or that's a good point, crypto world, unless you have a 4 gig, and I said that too, unless you have specific hardware, right? Like if you've got a 4 gig card, then you can't mine Ethereum. So if you've got a 4 gig card, you would be looking at, let's see here. Still showed some profitability on Ethereum. Yeah, so even a 4 gig card is $1.50 a day on Raven. That's pretty solid, right? I mean, $1.50 on a 4-year-old card is not bad. Now, it's nothing like what you would see on a new card. I mean, these are just absolutely killing it. But again, it comes down to efficiency and all that stuff. I mean, $12 a day, one GPU, that's insane. That's literally insane. I mean, I love it. I don't have any of these cards, but I do love that profitability. Yeah, and Ethereum Classic is the way to go with 4 gig. Yeah, I'll vouch for that as well. I like Ethereum Classic on 4 gig. Even though they show pretty far down the list here on what to mine. And it also depends on what that particular project is doing that day. You know, like, okay, so let's go and see. Let's go see what ETC is doing right now, because all this is a snapshot in time. This is not something that you can rely on for like a month straight. You know, you have to, if you're going to mine the most profitable, you have to come in here every day and check, right? You know, and that's another thing. Like, if you don't want to do that, if you just want to mine a project to mine it, then do it. You know, it's all up to you. That's what hobby miners are for. So ETC is up a little bit. Let's see what Raven is doing. Raven's up a little bit too. So yeah, I mean, kind of surprised to see Ethereum Classic that far down the list, honestly. All right, good grief. I've been going for 45 minutes. That's way too long for me. Yeah, I posted the link to the sheet. That's in the chat. I'll try to remember. Let me go ahead and put it in. Let me go ahead and put it in the description as well, so I don't forget. I'm a little bit of a scatterbrain, so I forget stuff like that. I need to shorten the URL for it, but right now I'm posting the long URL in there in the description. Maybe I'll shorten it. Yeah, all right. So yeah, to summarize here, 5700 Flash to an XT looks like it's a pretty solid way to go as far as efficiency goes. Again, all of this stuff is just kind of a random list based on efficiency at the moment, and it's not based on anything you can get. So it's not me anyway. I mean, I can't get anything. I know I'm like self-loathing in that regard, but self-loathing. All right, let's see. I'm going over my notes, see if I missed anything. Yeah, hopefully this was educational, fun, entertaining in some way. I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you've got something to add to the sheet and you want me to add it, let me know. Just hit me up and I'll see about adding it. Give me a source, you know, that kind of thing. You guys can obviously modify it for yourself and do whatever. I'm sharing it free of charge. It does have calculations in there, so be careful whenever you're like copying and pasting and stuff if you wanna maintain that. Oh, thanks, Chancoin. Thanks so much, sir. Awesome. Let me see what you say here. Improved a lot since the day doing the mining random coins in the past. Yep. Yeah, those were the days. And my machine kept locking up. You mentioned that earlier. I had a really poor streaming machine, and it kept locking up. And I ended up having a bad memory stick in it, and that's what was causing it. I thought it was overheating. It wasn't overheating, and then it took me like 2 months of troubleshooting, you know, like off and on, just randomly. Because the trick was that it would only do it while I was streaming. All other times it was fine. You know, streaming like Netflix or whatever on it, perfect. But once I started live streaming on YouTube is whenever it would have the problem. So it was really hard to troubleshoot because it would only happen whenever I was streaming. Yeah, I could have probably fired up a fake stream or a test stream and stuff and troubleshot it. But so I finally figured that out. Yeah, thanks for the reminder there, Chancoin. The bad days. Yeah, the random coin mining show. I could do that again, but man, it was really it was rough because after so long, it was like people really got the impression that I was like shilling those coins and stuff, and I wasn't. It was just to learn how to mine different algorithms and OC settings and all that stuff. So that's all it was for. But they're still online. You can still look them up. If you go to my channel and look up Random Coin Mining Show, they're still all there. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. It's 10:30 almost. I'll see you guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe and all that cool stuff. If you thought that this was useful in any way, you appreciate the spreadsheet, even though it's probably not entirely 100% accurate. It does take a little bit of work to do that. It's not Excel. I don't have Excel. It's actually Google. I've got it in the description and I posted it in the chat. I'll do it again for you, sir. Rocking UMesh though. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. See you guys tomorrow. I don't know if I'll have a video out tomorrow during the day, but I'll see you tomorrow night no matter what. Pretty much. Stay savage, everybody.